I'm Kevin Stevens, a native Pensacolian, husband, father, and U.S. Navy veteran. But that's not what this is about. I'm a local businessman who has owned many successful companies over the years. But it's not about this either. Recently, I ran for public office and was elected to a seat on the ECUA Board of Commissioners. So what's this about? It's about an elected official who will serve his community and hold his fellow elected officials accountable, all while making local government more transparent. Join me in making Pensacola a better place to live, work, and play. Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So today, first of all, I apologize about the length of time in between my shows. I'm going to make my New Year's resolution today, before Christmas and before New Year's, and I'm going to have these monthly, just to kind of update you folks on what's going on with ECUA. We just had, like I said, we had a recent board meeting. The previous one to that, we reluctantly, as many of you all are aware of, voted on a rate increase that was certainly necessary. And like I said, that's an understatement. Wanted to kind of give you a little forecast going forward on some of the stuff that we've done, some of the challenges that we're looking at going into 2023 that we're discussing now, that I want the folks and the listeners out there to be very, very aware of. One of which is I said when I voted for for this last rate increase was FPL's increase in their power bill. Our power bill again went up $1.2 million. So I explained that to folks that wasn't total. That was the on top of what we're paying right now. So we're still getting bids. A lot of the challenges we're having right now is every time we sit down at a board meeting, we're voting on $6 to $8 million on average of improvements that we're doing to our local sewer and sanitation services. And keep in mind, a lot of that is done by the private sector. So we're still seeing bids coming a little high. We try to get 3 bids, 3 proposals on each and every single vendor. A lot of times we're not able to do that. Sometimes we get single bidders. Sometimes the bids are still coming in relatively high. So I try to explain to folks that's a direct correlation on our rate and whether or not we need to increase rates. So again, the Public Service Commission has agreed to meet with FPL, I think January, February of this year, where they're going to be proposing an additional rate increase for the customers of Northwest Florida. So that affects all of us. And I always tell folks that we're not a for-profit company. We are a public utility. So I'm a shareholder, you're a shareholder. And so, when we're talking about being good stewards of your money, at the end of the day, we want to make sure we're tightening our belts and doing everything we can do to maximize the revenue that is generated from our sewer and sanitation services. So I did want to address that. We'll be back on. We'll be talking about that in the months to come, and then just like I said, some of the challenges, some of the quotes, some of the private sector bids that are coming in to do some of our work that we're hoping, fingers crossed, that those bids are going to come down. We're hoping material is going to come down a little bit. Labor costs, we're not seeing a whole lot of labor costs going down. In fact, it's going up. We were able to hire several more drivers, so hopefully you're seeing your garbage services increase for the good. I do that based on how many phone calls I get from missed garbage pickups or debris pickups, so those have lessened. So I'm hoping that the additional drivers we hired are helping with that. And of course, if not, by all means, give me a call. So we're going to cut here for a short commercial break, but when we come back, I'm going to introduce my special guest, Miss Allison Patton, newly elected councilwoman for District 6. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does two things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. You know, there are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
ING Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So again, just want to introduce and also congratulate my guest, Ms. Allison Patton. Congratulations on your very hard-fought victory for City Councilwoman, District 6.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it, and it was a hard, long journey, but I'm very grateful to be elected by the people to serve District 6, and the swearing in today was special, and I really enjoyed that ceremony, and so now it's time to get to work.
You know, and I want to thank you too, because being an elected official myself, a lot of folks don't understand like all the work that goes into that. So there's all the work that you put in to get you to this position, and then of course all the work that that you're going to have ahead. And it's just a huge sacrifice. And I always thank anybody who's got the courage to run. Because it truly is a selfless act. It truly is giving back to the community, and so I want to thank you for that and wish you, much luck. So I want to dive into a little bit, but just want to go into a little bit. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. I know a lot of folks know you, a lot of folks don't. So maybe just to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're looking to do as our newly elected City Councilwoman.
Absolutely. So actually, I am a retired lawyer. I was a litigation attorney for many years. Worked for Morgan Stanley. At the time of my retirement, I was head of the retail litigation department and a managing director, but I laugh because I think about the race and the 7 months I spent running, and it really did remind me of a trial. I was all day long, advocating, listening to folks and campaigning, and worked all day, every day, exhausting, over that long of a period of time. And then closer to the election, the case goes to the jury, and so the voters are then electing me, or at this stage I found out I was elected, but that process is very much like a jury trial. So I found it to be very interesting. So I am a retired lawyer. I really, truly want to give back to the city. I'm doing this because I feel like it's something that is important. It's my next step. I often, it sounds kind of fuzzy when you say, well, why are you doing something? I say, because I think it's my purpose right now. I think it's where I'm supposed to be. It's how I'm supposed to use the skills that I have gained over the course of my career. So I originally grew up in Western New York, came from relatively modest background. I worked my way through law school. My father died when I was young or 22 years old, and so I've had to work hard for everything. And I really feel like we need people in our city government that know how to work really hard and get things done. So that's why I wanted to do this, and that's why I ran.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you, and I think I can speak for a lot of folks in Escambia County, especially probably in the city, who thank you as well for again making that sacrifice. So give me an idea of, I guess, maybe just a couple projects or goals near and dear to your heart that you'd like to see come to fruition in downtown Pensacola.
So, well, the neat thing about District 6 is there are lots of neighborhoods, right? So downtown's one. We've got Belmont de Villiers, North Hill, East Hill, and then the East Side neighborhood and Old East Hill neighborhood. So I think there's different needs in all of the neighborhoods.
Sure.
But one of the things that I heard the most as I was campaigning was really people focused on affordable housing and homelessness. Those were the two topics I think I heard about the most from
They seem to be the
voters.
topic, and that's not just in the city. That's also in the county. So those are two issues that's being addressed, not just with city council, but county commission, our newly elected mayor. These are tough challenges. So I definitely want to dive into that. To kind of get some, because everybody's got a different definition when you say affordable housing. It's all over the board when it comes to definitions. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll dive right into that with Allison and then get some feedback and thoughts on what you see as a possible solution for affordable housing in Pensacola. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does 2 things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently, and they provide remarkable customer service. There are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So again, we've got newly elected Councilwoman Allison Patton for District 6. And before we left for the break, we were talking about affordable housing, which again, as I told you on the break, we had our newly elected mayor, Mr. D.C. Reeves. We had him on here a couple months ago, again, asking the same question about affordable housing, which yourself, and of course, as he got sworn in, that was another commitment he had made there at the podium not 45 minutes ago, was addressing the challenge of affordable housing. And again, someone who I dabble in the construction industry myself, and building construction, and dealing with the ever-increasing cost of building materials, the lack of supply of building materials, and the ever-increasing cost of labor. Those are challenges on the construction end that every builder and developer is dealing with right now. And then again, when you get to your elected officials such as yourself, you're on the other end of that saying, okay, how can we bring the public and private sector together? So be curious to hear your thoughts on that, and what you think maybe possibly some of the solutions may be for affordable housing.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, the biggest obstacle is the fact that those are hard costs, and we can't change that. So there are really only a couple of ways to make things more affordable, and that's to have land, donated, or land that is less expensive, used for the affordable, or to build the house. It's helping with maybe some of the infrastructure costs, or it's just subsidizing more generally the homes that are built or the apartments that are built. So I think that there are creative ways of doing that. I think public-private partnerships are probably the way that most cities that have been successful at creating a lot of units That's the direction they've gone, and I think that there is a lot of work being done here by Habitat, for example, thinking about land trusts. So I think that they are starting to think bigger than
Sure.
just a home by home approach. And I think that Baptist with their East Street campus is the probably best opportunity we have to gain affordable housing in our community. But I think that there are going to be challenges, even with that property, and so I think the city really needs to stay close to that and work with Baptist. There was an announcement on Monday by Mayor Robinson that there is a proposal for a project there. I think that proposal is a good one, but even when I started trying to dig into the details and figure out what the proposal means for our community and who it's designed to serve, I wasn't even sure, thinking about the word affordable, what market we were targeting with that project.
And again, and that's there's the question. I'll get on some of these Facebook pages. My wife says, "Get off there. Why you?" I'm like, I just want to look and see what some of the chat rooms are talking about, whether it be builders, developers, or politicians, or ECUA, or whatever the case may be. But it's interesting, they talk about affordable, and then it's just like, well, look, this is a the Pensacola News Journal, was taking some flack a few days ago about advertising homes for sale. And a lot of folks were like, well, why are they advertising? I'm like, well, because advertising is what pays for the paper from that standpoint. But the comments in there were like, well, who can afford a $350,000 house? Who can afford a $400,000 house? And I'm thinking to myself, from looking at construction cost, I'm thinking, that's not the Bellagio. Exactly. That's not the two-story granite countertop, type of house that you're thinking about, that was years ago. So that's going to be a challenge, and I'd like to dive into that a little bit more. I'd like to dive into that a little bit more on the affordability, maybe what some of the solutions are, right after we take a short commercial break. So stay tuned.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Hey, welcome back to On Board with Kevin Stevens. And again, got a lot of information in a very short time to cover it. But again, with Allison Patton, newly elected City Councilwoman, District 6, and we were talking about, before the commercial break, affordable housing. And again, as you said on the break, there is no silver bullet. There is certainly no one-size-fits-all to address this concern. But I'm glad you're talking about it. I'm glad newly elected Mayor Reeves is talking about it as well. I've had some conversations with city councilmen and county commission when it talks to, what can the private or the public sector do with the private sector? And then there's a couple different ideas. There's certainly, red tape is costly. Permitting can be costly. So I think, one way, is working with our partners on the city council, working with our partners in the county commission, and what can ECUA do to maybe lessen the process? What can we chip in, proverbially speaking, into the affordability bucket that can help offset some of those costs for the city, which would translate to lesser costs for the builder developer, which again accomplishes the goal of the end user, which is that homeowner, right? And so again, it's certainly not a one size fits all. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but it's certainly a start of opening those lines of communication. Because again, I agree with you. I think it has to be a private-public partnership, because one can't do it without the other. So
absolutely, and I think that there's a lot the city needs to look at in terms of their processes. Can be very cumbersome and expensive,
very.
And certainly the longer things take, the more costly they are. So if everybody can focus on what they control and then try to do the things that we can do to try to cut costs within the system, I think builders are willing to step forward and help us solve this issue for the community. But I just think we're going to have to do multiple different things besides just look at individual homes. Density is an issue. A lot of people don't love the idea of more density, but that is how you can cut costs of projects.
I think you have to. I think you're going to have to go vertical, and I know there's some challenges with that. But again, you've got premium real estate here, and we have parking issues. So, it's one of those situations where, yes, you have to provide so much parking that can be done in the form of like the first floor parking garage or something, and then going vertical. But to your point, you've got to go density, and that's in the subdivisions as well, because, Pensacola, especially downtown Pensacola, has so much to offer, and everybody wants to be a part of that. And what's really painful for yourself and other council folks is it's almost like the folks are being kind of pushed out because of the affordability issue. So how do we get them back in here? And like you said, it's going to be one of those situations where public and private are going to be working together.
And I think we have to be careful because, particularly in my district, for example, a lot of these neighborhoods are very historic. And so you need to make sure that we're maintaining the integrity of the history of the neighborhoods. But that doesn't mean there aren't areas, within the city and even within District 6 where more density would make sense and would be consistent with with the neighborhood and with the uses. So
all right, and just getting the community to have a voice and say, here's our ultimate goal. Let's get some feedback from you. So again, lots of different options, and we've got a couple more I'd like to talk about, I should say, right after this break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does two things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. There are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So again, we could have an entire show, ladies and gentlemen, on affordability and different ideas on that. But you know, what I'd like to kind of segue into, Allison, we spoke about it briefly on the break, was you know, some ideas about how we create jobs and opportunities within Pensacola to afford a $300,000 house. Again, I'd like to hear some thoughts on that.
So absolutely, I think that's critical. We can focus on affordability, but we really need to focus on making sure people are making a living wage and, you know, improving their job prospects and opportunities. So I would say that probably second to affordable housing, jobs are one of the, you know, critical things we need to focus on. I want to see more vocational training and a focus on, you know, in our high schools, as early as possibly middle school, starting to think about careers for folks who may not want to go to college. And we need, you talked about the cost of labor, we need more trade jobs.
And that's a whole nother subject, because I can tell you, I talk to folks all the time. I'm a huge proponent of college. I think it's great, but it's not for everybody. And I think as a society, again, I don't want to go off on some, you know, rabbit trail here that college is the only way. Well, college is one way. And there are several other ways. I mean, I've got partners in plumbing companies that are making $35 an hour.
Absolutely.
I've got partners that have electrical contracting companies that are making $35 an hour. So with no student loan debt, by the way. Yep. So there are so many different opportunities right now for individuals to learn, like you said, a trade. To be able to afford that $300,000 house.
And somehow or another, that got lost in our school system. I don't quite know when it happened, because it certainly was an option when I was in high school. But I think more and more, I'm reading about other cities and other, you know, educational initiatives to really bring those kinds of programs back to high schools. And I think we need to do it here. I've been talking to a lot of people in our community who also believe that's important and want to work with the school board. I know that's not really the city council's responsibility, but I do think we have a responsibility to our community to be doing the right thing for all of our residents.
And 100%, and again, it goes back to that private-public partnership. I've spoken to several county commissioners and city council folks about getting with, again, the private sector, getting with some of these plumbing contractors, electrical contractors, these welding companies, these so forth, blue-collar worker per se, industries that make very good money, pay excellent benefits, and again, we don't have that student loan debt that's a financial burden on those individuals when they're graduating, and bring those skills here. So that's something that I think the city council should get involved. I think the county commission should get involved. I think you should reach out to the private sector as well as the schools and the educational and say, look, you know, would you be willing to mentor this young person and teach them that trade? I can speak for various business partners I'm associated with that they would love to have a young man or woman learn that skill set and be able to pass that on, because those trades there's a huge deficit right now. So I think there's great opportunities there. So, you know, I know we covered a lot, and I told you these segments go really quickly. We have so much information. I'm definitely going to have to get you back on here again.
Absolutely.
To like I said, to talk about it. And of course, I know it's like this is basically day one on the job. Yep. Officially. So it'll be interesting to get you back in here in the next couple months, and hopefully you still got the same passion and enthusiasm.
I'm sure I will.
as you have today. But again, like I said, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Like I said, want to thank you for your for your commitment to our community. Like I said, to making it a better place to live, work, and play. And like I said, I look forward to getting you back on here in the months ahead to discuss some of this stuff, and whether it be affordable housing or vocational training or what have you. So again, want to thank you all for joining me. God bless. Have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. And we look forward to seeing you next year. God bless. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
You made her college years possible, opening that education savings account when she was little, spearheading campus tours, and deciphering financial aid. If you can ace planning for college, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.